bring a book like this. O humankind, you claim that you have been on this planet millions and millions of years. This is your claim. You believe that you have been here millions and millions of years. And thus, according to your claim, you have witnessed the birth of billions of human beings in this era of millions and millions of years. Yet you, with all your intellect put together, only recently have discovered the different stages of childbirth in the womb. This book told you 1400 years ago, وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ سُلَالَةٍ مِنْ طِينٍ ثُمَّ جَعَلْنَاهُ نُطْفَةً فِي قَرَارٍ مَكِينٍ ثُمَّ خَلَقْنَا النُّطْفَةَ عَلَقًا فَخَلَقْنَا الْعَلَقَ مُضْغَةً فَخَلَقْنَا الْمُضْغَةَ عِظَامًا فَكَسَوْنَا الْعِظَامَ لَحْمًا ثُمَّ أَنشَأْنَاهُ خَلْقًا آخَرَ فَتَبَارَكَ اللَّهُ أَحْسَنُ الْخَالِقِينَ. It gave you this information 1400 years ago, that we have made this human from an extract of clay, and then from a drop of semen. Then we change this drop of semen into a pot of blood. Then this pot of blood into a fetus lump. Then this fetus lump into bones. And then we clothe the bones. And then we developed you into a different creation. Glorified is Allah, the best of creators. It gave you this information 1400 years ago. You claim that you have been on this planet for millions of years. It took you thousands and thousands of years to discover the body of Fir'aun that lived at the time of Hazrat Musa alayhi salatu wasalam. And to be precise, in 1898, Professor Lorette discovered this body. And then, when you saw this body, that it is intact, it is preserved, you became baffled and you were amazed. It took you thousands of years to discover it. This book told you 1400 years ago, فَالْيَوْمَ نُنَجِّيكَ بِبَدَنِكَ لِتَكُونَ لِمَنْ خَلْفَكَ آيَةً, that we have preserved the body of Fir'aun. It is intact, it is preserved. Only recently, you discovered, your biological research group in Alaska, it discovered a worm. This worm was trapped in ice in Alaska. At the same time, you saw this worm, that in its mouth, it had a piece of greenery. When you saw this piece of greenery with this worm, which was trapped in Alaska, you were baffled and you were amazed. And you began to question, where does this greenery come from in Alaska? This book solved the riddle 1400 years ago, and it told you, يَسْأَلُهُ مَنْ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ كُلَّ يَوْمٍ هُوَ فِي شَأْنٍ. All those within the heavens ask of him. All those within the earth ask of him. This worm, when it was trapped in Alaska, it called unto the Almighty Allah, and it said, Oh Allah, I'm in Alaska, I'm trapped in ice. Oh Allah, I believe that you are the only being that can help me and sustain me. I beg for your mercy, provide for me. Allah responded and provided that worm that was trapped in ice with greenery. Only recently you discovered a cave of lava in which the temperature was over 2,000 degrees centigrade, from 2,000 degrees to 3,000 degrees centigrade. In this cave of lava, you found a snake-like thing, a worm-like thing. You yourself say, nothing can survive in such temperatures. But yet you found a snake-like thing, a worm-like thing, and you were baffled when you saw that in spite of the fact the temperature was over 2,000 degrees centigrade, this snake-like thing, which was over 1.5 meters in length, it was alive. You were baffled by this. And then when you examine this, and you realize that it has no digestive system, it has no respiratory system, the only thing this thing has is a heart, you began to scratch your head. This book solved this riddle 1400 years ago, and he told you, وَكَأَيٍّ مِّن دَابَةٍ لَا تَحْمِلُ رِزْقَهَا اللَّهُ يَرْزُقُهَا وَإِيَّاكُمْ هُوَ يُحْيِي وَيُمِيتُ. He is the one that gives life. He is the one that gives death. He is the one that provides for everything and every being. وَمَا مِن دَابَةٍ فِي الْأَرْضِ إِلَّا عَلَى اللَّهِ رِزْقُهَا. Only recently you discovered 2 galaxies which contain billions and billions of stars. You saw these galaxies heading towards one another. All of a sudden, you began to panic because you believed that these galaxies were going to collide and hell was going to break loose. The entire universe was going to come to an end and you began to panic. But nothing like this happened. These galaxies merely just passed one another without touching one another, without colliding, unharmed, and you began to scratch your head once again. This Quran solved the riddle 1400 years ago. يَسْأَلُهُ مَنْ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ كُلَّ يَوْمٍ هُوَ فِي شَأْنٍ. All those within the heavens and the earth asked of him. These galaxies made that silent call to the Lord of the Arsh and Kursi, who could help them, and they begged for Allah's mercy, and Allah gave them such balances that they passed one another without colliding with one another, without harming one another. Thousands of years after, you discovered and you realized that every living thing has been created from water. This book told you 1400 years ago, وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ, that we have made every living thing from water. Thousands of years it took you to discover the solar system, the earth and the solar system. And then when you realize that this sun, which shines on a daily basis, is well over 100 times bigger than the planet that you live in, you were amazed and you were baffled. And then when you realize that this is only one star, there are millions and billions of stars in a galaxy, and then there are billions of galaxies in the universe, and everything is moving further away by the second. Everything is expanding. Our Earth, with its solar system, moved 500 million kilometers away from its location the previous year. You were baffled by this. This book told you 1400 years ago the information that you have only found out today. Inna namusi'un. This book said 1400 years ago that we are expanding the universe. As every second passes, everything is moving away. My brothers, thousands of years, you discovered that these birds migrate. It took you years and years to find this out. And you were fascinated by the way these birds migrate and that these animals migrate. They migrate every year. They travel thousands of miles to a different and distant land. Not once do they ever lose their way. They get to their destination every year without fail. You came to the conclusion that definitely these animals and these birds have been programmed. At this moment in time, you are trying to work out who is programming these animals and birds, that they get to land thousands of miles away to which they have never been before. This book told you 1400 years ago that they have been programmed. And it has also solved the riddle with regards to the programmer. It said, رَبُّنَا الَّذِي أَعْطَى كُلَّ شَيْءٍ خَلْقَهُ ثُمَّ هَدَى. Our Lord is the one that gave everything its form. And our Lord is the one that guided and who programmed these birds so that they are able to get to their destination. And these animals so that they are able to get to their destination. My brothers and sisters, thousands of years you have been on this planet. Only recently you have discovered that these great mountains are like pegs. This book told you 1400 years ago, أَلَمْ نَجْعَلِ الْأَرْضَ مِحَادًا وَالْجِبَالَ أَوْتَادًا وَأَلْقَى فِي الْأَرْضِ رَوَاسِيَ أَن تَمِيدَ بِكُمْ, that these mountains are like pegs and they help to stabilize the earth. Only recently, after thousands and thousands of years, only a few weeks ago, you discovered a planet like Earth, and how you began to rejoice and express happiness that finally you have found a planet like Earth. It took you thousands and thousands of years. Let me not surprise you. This book told you 1400 years ago, never mind, one planet like Earth. This book declared, وَمِنَ الْأَرْضِ مِثْلَهُنْ, that there are 7 like Earth. He has created 7 heavens and 7 earth. It took you thousands and thousands of years to discover that there is a barrier between 2 oceans. This book told you 1400 years ago, بَيْنَهُمَا بَرْزُخٌ لَا يَبْغِيَانِ فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ, that there is a barrier between these 2 oceans. Thousands and thousands of years after, you discovered animal communities, and you discovered reproduction in the vegetable kingdom, balance in the vegetable kingdom. This book gave you information with regards to these topics 1400 years ago. You didn't even have the concept of human rights, which you are so proud of today. You declared your charter in 1948. Thousands and millions of years, according to your claim, you have been on this planet. But 1948 was the time when you declared the Human Rights Charter